Every woman alive today has had a first period. So did every woman who ever lived. Going back 300,000 years. Your great-great-great-grandmother times 10,000 had one. In a cave, on a savanna, with no pharmacist, no pad, no calendar, and absolutely no one telling her what was about to happen. So what did she do? This is one of the most universal human experiences in history, and one of the least talked about. Until now. First, let's go back. Way back. 300,000 years ago. East Africa. A young girl in a small tribe. Around age 12 or 13. She notices something alarming. Blood. With no injury. No wound. No explanation. In a world where blood usually meant danger, this was terrifying. But here is what happened next. It is the most important part. She was not alone. The older women of the tribe already knew. They had all been through it. In small tribes of 50 to 150 people, everyone knew everyone's body. There were no secrets in a tribe. Bodies were not private the way they are now. The first period was almost certainly noticed by others before the girl noticed herself. Because in ancient tribes, menarche was not a private medical event. It was a social event, a ritual event, a celebrated event. Anthropologists call this a rite of passage, a formal recognition that a girl was becoming a woman. And across nearly every ancient culture ever studied, menarche was marked, not hidden, not hushed, marked. Now, what did the practical side look like? What did they actually use? Here is where we have to be honest about what we know and what we are inferring. Organic materials decompose. Soft things do not survive 300,000 years. So the direct archaeological evidence for ancient menstrual materials is essentially zero. But we can make very educated guesses, based on what ancient humans had available. The most likely material, moss, sphagnum moss in particular, highly absorbent, antibacterial, available everywhere. The same moss used to dress battlefield wounds for centuries. Soft animal skins, another strong candidate. Ancient humans were expert at processing hides. They knew which were softest. Soft plant fibers, woven grasses, leaves folded into pads, and possibly nothing at all, simply letting it flow freely. In warm climates with minimal clothing, this was entirely practical. There is evidence from ancient Egypt of early menstrual pads made from softened papyrus. Ancient Greek and Roman texts mention were used for menstrual absorption. So women were solving this problem with available materials for all of recorded history, and probably long before that. Now, back to that first period moment, and what the tribe did next. The response varied by culture, but certain themes appeared almost everywhere. Theme 1, seclusion. The girl was separated from the main group temporarily, not as punishment, as marking, as protection, as transition space. A physical space that said, something important is happening here. During this time, elder women stayed close. They taught, they shared knowledge. They told her what her body could now do, how pregnancy worked, how to read her own cycle, what foods helped. This was an intensive education, delivered at exactly the right moment. Theme 2, ceremony. When the girl emerged from seclusion, the tribe gathered. She was seen, acknowledged, celebrated. Food was shared. Stories were told. Her new status was announced. She entered as a girl. She returned as a woman. Everyone witnessed the change. Now, let's look at specific ancient cultures, because the variety is extraordinary. The Apache of North America held a 4-day ceremony called the Sunrise Ceremony, still practiced today. One of the oldest continuous coming-of-age rituals in the world. The young woman dresses in special clothing, runs toward the rising sun. She is believed to embody changing woman, a powerful creator deity. For 4 days, she is considered to have healing powers. People line up for her to bless them. She is the most powerful person in the community. Not a burden, not something to hide, a source of power. The Nuka people of the Pacific Northwest had their own tradition. The young woman was taken out to sea by canoe, bathed in the ocean, then brought back to shore to be welcomed by the whole village. The Bemba of Zambia held a ceremony called Chisungu, lasting weeks. Songs, dances, sacred pottery figures. Teachings passed from women to women. Anthropologist Audrey studied it in the 1950s, called it one of the most elaborate female rituals on earth. In ancient India, menarche was celebrated with the Ritu Sutti ceremony. The young woman was dressed in new clothes, given gifts, celebrated publicly, sweets distributed to the entire community. Her transition announced to everyone. In many parts of Sri Lanka, this is still practiced today. In ancient Japan, the first period was marked with sekin, red bean rice. Red rice shared with family and neighbors. Red symbolizing the transition. The color red in Japanese tradition carried the meaning of protection and celebration. In ancient Aboriginal Australian communities, the first period marked entry into women's business, a body of knowledge held exclusively by women, passed down through ceremony. Access to this knowledge was earned by the body, not given by age alone. Now, a pattern is emerging across all these cultures. The first period was never just a biological event. It was a social renegotiation. Who is this person now? What is her role? What does she now have access to? What responsibilities does she carry? Ancient cultures answered these questions publicly, out loud, together. Now, what about the physical experience? Pain, cramps, mood shifts. Ancient women felt all of this, exactly as modern women do, but without ibuprofen, without a hot water bottle, without a delivery app for chocolate. So what do they use instead? Heat. Ancient humans understood heat for pain relief very early. Warm stones wrapped in hide placed against the abdomen, sitting close to fire. Herbal remedies. Ancient women had sophisticated knowledge of plant medicine. Ginger for inflammation, raspberry leaf for cramps, yarrow for heavy flow. These are not folk myths. Modern research has confirmed the efficacy of several ancient herbal remedies for menstrual pain. Ancient women were not guessing. They were practicing generations of accumulated knowledge. Rest. Seclusion during menstruation was not only ritual, it was practical rest. Being released from regular duties during the hardest days was not weakness. It was intelligent resource management, community support. In small tribes, women's cycles often synchronized. The phenomenon of menstrual synchrony in groups living closely together, which meant multiple women resting at the same time, supporting each other. No one woman was alone in her discomfort. The tribe shared it. Now, what about mythology? How did ancient people explain menstruation? Before science, the body was mystery, and mystery became story. Many ancient cultures connected menstruation to the moon. The lunar cycle is approximately 29 days. The menstrual cycle approximately 28. To ancient people with no other framework, this was clearly a connection. Many ancient languages use the same word for moon and menstruation. In many traditions, menstrual blood was considered powerful, even sacred. It was blood that appeared without wound or injury and disappeared on its own. To ancient minds, this was extraordinary, not shameful. The ability to bleed and not die was seen as evidence of extraordinary power. In some ancient traditions, menstrual blood was used in ceremonies, offered to the earth as part of fertility rituals, as a gift, not a waste. So when did the shame arrive? Because it was not always there. Shame around menstruation is not ancient. It is newer. Several ancient texts, particularly from certain religious traditions, began framing menstruation as impure. Leviticus in the Hebrew Bible described menstruating women as ritually unclean. Pliny the Elder, Roman author, wrote that menstrual blood could wilt crops and rust iron. Fear replacing reverence. Shame replacing celebration. The shift happened gradually, over centuries, across many cultures. And by the time modern industrial society arrived, menstruation was hidden completely. Something 300,000 years of humans had marked publicly was now secret. Girls sent to school with no information, no preparation, no ceremony, finding out alone, in a bathroom, often terrified. This is historically abnormal. In the full sweep of human history, this isolation is the outlier. For most of human existence, a girl's first period was a community moment. Now, what does all of this tell us? It tells us that human bodies have always needed acknowledgement, that transitions need to be witnessed by people who care, that knowledge needs to be passed, not withheld, that the body deserves celebration, not concealment. Ancient women did not handle their first period alone. They were held by their community. They were taught. They were celebrated. They were seen. And that seeing, that community witnessing, did something essential. It told the girl, you are not broken. You are becoming. Your body is not failing. It is working exactly as it was designed to. And you are not alone in this. You are joining every woman who ever lived. Every woman in this tribe. Every woman in every tribe. Going back to the very beginning, modern medicine has given us extraordinary tools for managing menstruation. pain relief that works, products that give dignity and freedom, medical understanding that protects health. We should not romanticize the past. Moss is not ibuprofen. But we lost something ancient cultures understood instinctively. That bodies deserve acknowledgement. That transitions deserve witnessing. That a girl becoming a woman is worth stopping for, worth celebrating. And that no girl should ever discover her own body alone, in a bathroom, terrified. Ancient women had something we have largely lost, a community that caught them. That is worth thinking about. For all of us, if this made you see something ordinary in a completely new way, that is exactly what this channel is here for.